Okay, so full disclosure, I was trying to make a chicken roulade, but what I ended up was with almost something like a chicken Kiev. So I'm calling this chicken dinner. I like to be real on my channel, Arubakes, so I'm going to share both the nice looking dishes and the ones that still need a little bit of work but still taste awesome with you guys. Because either way, the ingredient combination was an absolute winner. It tasted amazing, though it didn't look as good as I had hoped. Watch till the end to see where I think I went wrong and what I would do differently. For now, here is how I made this chicken dinner. First, we're going to make the mushroom filling to go in the chicken. For this, heat up a large pan until it's very hot. Add in the chopped button mushrooms and give it a stir. I never use oil when cooking mushrooms because it tends to drink up all of the oil. Instead, get your pan very hot before adding in the mushroom and then stir until it starts to release some of the liquid. And then just let it simmer away in its own juices until most of the liquid has evaporated. Season the mushrooms at this point. Go in with a heavy pinch of salt and some chili flakes and paprika powder and some fresh thyme, and then stir this in. Once all of the liquid has evaporated, then move the mushrooms to the side of the pan and put in a dash of olive oil in the middle. Add in the chopped onion and garlic and let this cook for a few minutes until it starts to soften and get a little bit of color to it. Season this with a pinch of salt and then stir it in. Mix in the mushrooms, the onions, and the garlic together. Taste and adjust for seasoning. And then finish this off with some finely chopped fresh parsley. And that is your mushroom filling done. Put all of the filling into a blender and pulse it a few times until you get the mushroom to break down and you get almost like a mushroom paste. Spoon the mushroom paste into a bowl and then add in a few spoonfuls of cream cheese to this. Mix in the mushroom and the cream cheese and then set this aside. Take your boneless, skinless chicken. Today I used chicken thighs, but I feel like chicken breast would have worked better for this dish. This is the first thing I would change when I make this again. Dry the meat out with a paper towel. Put the chicken in between a sheet of cling film and then pound this well with a rolling pin or a meat mallet. Do this so that your piece of chicken becomes flat and wide. We want it to be nice and even in thickness. Flip the chicken over so that you can pound both sides nicely. Now that I have a nice even piece of chicken, I'm going to season it with a tiny bit of salt and pepper on both sides. Lay out the piece of chicken so that the outside part of the meat is at the bottom. When I say outside part, I mean the skin side, even though this is skinless chicken. To this, I'm adding some sliced mozzarella. This is the second mistake I made. When I make this chicken roulade again, I'm going to grate the mozzarella so that the chicken rolls better and easier into a log shape. Then spoon on some of that mushroom paste on top of the cheese and spread it out to cover pretty much the whole chicken piece. Now, with the help of the cling film, roll the chicken into a tight log. See how I'm struggling a little because of the mozzarella slice? By grating the cheese, we can avoid this. Once you get the chicken into a sausage shape, wrap it tightly with the cling film and then seal the two sides and twist it so that the chicken is wrapped up tightly and won't move around or fall apart. And then pop this in the freezer to set. This is the third mistake I made. I chilled this for like 30 minutes in the freezer, which just wasn't enough time for this to set nicely. I think at least 2 hours, if not a little bit longer, would have been better to really set it and hold the filling in place when we are cooking it. Now get 3 bowls ready. In one, put some plain flour. In the second bowl, crack an egg, and into the third bowl, add breadcrumbs. Season the flour and the breadcrumbs with a generous pinch of salt. Then season just the flour with some pepper. And for the breadcrumbs, go in with some chili flakes and dried parsley. Mix the crumbs, mix the flour, and then beat the egg, and now you are ready to coat the chicken. When your chicken is done setting in the freezer, unwrap the cling film and then dip the chicken log in the flour. The flour helps the egg stick to the meat, which then helps the breadcrumbs stick to the meat. Coat the chicken well with the seasoned flour and then dip the chicken in the egg wash. Again, make sure the entire piece of chicken is covered in egg. And then finally pop this into the bowl of breadcrumbs. Coat the chicken well with the breadcrumbs so that it locks everything in. I cooked 2 roulades with the crumbs and 2 without to see the difference, and the ones with the crumbs just held together so much better. I'll show you the difference between the two in a few minutes. Heat a generous glug of oil in a large pan and then add in the chicken roulades into the pan. Let the chicken brown on all sides. Even in the pan, the crumb chicken held its shape loads better than the other one. Once the chicken has a golden brown color to it, very carefully transfer it to a lined baking tray and then pop this in a preheated oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees to cook all the way through. This pan that you brown the chicken in is perfect to make some gravy for this because it's got loads of bits of chicken that's stuck to it, which gives great flavor to the gravy. Reheat the pan and add in a knob of butter. Once the butter has melted, add a couple of spoons of flour and stir it for a few minutes until the flour cooks a little and becomes a slight brown color. And then add in the stock a little at a time. Pour in a bit of stock, stir it well so that there aren't any clumps of flour, and then add a little bit more stock and some thyme or any herbs of your choice, and then keep stirring this occasionally until the stock thickens. Kill the heat, taste and season. Once your chicken is nice and golden, take it out of the oven. Let it rest for a few minutes and then slice into it. Serve this over a bed of mash topped with that homemade gravy. This may not look as amazing as I imagined it, but it is super yummy. I'm going to make this again soon. Next time, I will try it with chicken breast instead of chicken thighs. I'll definitely grate the cheese or slice it super thin, and I will definitely let it set a lot longer in the freezer before cooking. Stay tuned for the modified version of this chicken dinner coming soon.